G'day guys, I'm Richie here. Together at the Queen's Hall, simply here in Hexham, had a fantastic time to run the theatre and the start of
It's happy birthday to the Queen's Hall as an organisation, and thank you so much for coming today to celebrate with us. And we'll be having celebrations points throughout the year coming up, so watch out for things that we're doing. And we'll be working with Youth Theatre, with Queen's Hall Theatre Club and lots of other partners and groups to celebrate our 40th anniversary. So thank you very much for coming. Particularly thank you to the staff and the board and our fantastic army of volunteers who keep the organisation running, and to our community, because that's what makes us still be here after 40 years. Queen's Hall is an organisation far beyond our building, and if you've been downstairs or into the gallery, you've seen the films about the activity that happen outside of our building, particularly Beneath Our Feet, which is in the exhibition space in Gallery 2, which is a fantastic project working with 13 schools, which was always ambitious, but turned out to be better than we ever expected. And the Find Festival, if anybody came a couple of weeks ago to the Find Festival, it was a festival run by 12 to 16-year-olds. And we handed over control to them, including radios and high-vis jackets, and we stood behind the scenes, and the collective we, sorting out insurance and health and safety and all the boring bits behind the scenes. And well over 2,000 people turned up to that festival, and it was an amazing success. So if you do have time and you haven't seen it, go and watch their film. The sheep, we just constantly talk about sheep. In fact, we spent about a year talking about nothing but sheep. So the fantastic sheep project continues. And thanks to Jez, we've been able to secure some additional funding. But the exciting news about the sheep is that they are off out again. They'll be in Bradford for their Light Festival, and then they'll be going to Alnwick Gardens for their winter festival, for their Christmas festival. So if you haven't seen the sheep as a flock, then head to Bradford or Alnwick. That's a really exciting thing, not just for us, but for Northumberland and for north of Tyne, who are funding it, to see the sheep going out of our region and down to Bradford with the Queen's Hall logo and north of Tyne logo on it, which is really exciting. And a fantastic new website to celebrate our 40th anniversary, and a new logo. And thanks to everybody who worked on the website, but particularly to Helen and Kelly, who haven't been able to do anything else but website for many months. It's amazing, and every time I open it, I think, wow, it's fantastic, and it's a real tribute to us as an organisation to see the website working so well. It looks fantastic. And then that's about the things that we've done in the last week or so. And then what we've got coming up is an amazing Christmas experience. So if you haven't booked up for Christmas, then get booking up for Christmas. We've got lots of performances in our building. We're co-creating with Alnwick Playhouse, and we like to create things with other partner organisations. So if you haven't booked your tickets for Snow White or one of the other fantastic evenings, then please do have a look at our Christmas programme. So we need 40 more years, if not longer. But our roof won't last 40 years. So the roof on the fly tower, which is the flat bit on the cake with the 40 years on it, is failing. And we're fundraising at the moment. We're writing funder bids, and one of them was successful just today. But we do need more. So there are QR codes all over the building if you want to donate. And if you know somebody else who'd like to donate, please send them in our general direction. But just keep shouting about it. And quickly, before I hand over to Rachel, who is the chair of our board, I wanted to mention Volo. Is Volo here? Volo's I just wanted to mention that Volo has been with us for nearly 2 years?
No,
a year.
It's almost 1 year.
1 year. As part of our team, but Volo will be leaving next spring for an exciting new adventure. And if you want to know about Volo's new adventure, then please go and talk to him. It does involve cycling, and it does involve the whole world. So I'm not going to tell you any more than that. Except go and have a chat with Wallo about how you can support him and how we can continue to support him on his exciting next adventure. Thank you again for coming, and I'm going to hand over to Rachel, who's our chair. There she is. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Katie. Can you all hear me? Brilliant. So yes, as Katie says, I'm Rachel, and it's currently my honour to be the chair of the Board of Trustees. So I'm just saying a few words on behalf of the board. So as trustees, we are literally entrusted with nurturing the Queen Hall Arts mission. And what a beautiful mission it is. It's to be the creative heart of the community, enabling great art experiences and supporting professional and aspiring artists. And in different ways, Queen's Hall Arts has been doing that for the last 40 years. And when we stop and think about the collective impact on people's lives, it is incredible and really, really important. The impact includes memories amongst families and friends of coming to events and nights out together. It includes experiences performing on Queen's Hall stage or having work professionally presented in the gallery downstairs. It includes work with schools and community partners that is often transformative. It includes opportunities for artists and companies to make and tour new work. There are so many stories of how involvement with Queen's Hall Arts has provided enjoyment and inspiration, opened up new opportunities, increased confidence, aspiration, well-being and pride. Queen's Hall Arts is part of the civic fabric of Hexham and the surrounding area. It also has an impact much further afield as part of a network of cultural organisations in Northumberland and the wider North East, and as being part of the national network of future art centres. All of this is achieved with the dedicated input of so many people. And there are a few categories of people who we need to whoop and cheer. So I'm going to read them out and want some whooping and cheering. So first of all, some whooping and cheering for the fantastic staff team, wonderfully led by Katie. Secondly, all of the volunteers. The front of house team are incredible, and all the volunteers amongst my fellow trustees. All of the artists, the creative practitioners and other freelancers, yes, I'm all whooping. Over the last 40 years, let's remember all of the former staff, former trustees and creative practitioners who've done magnificent things. All of the community partners and schools, all of the investors and stakeholders, and all of the audiences and participants. Everyone in this room has a unique relationship with the organisation, and you may be wearing one or more of those hats. Whatever your role, you are so appreciated, and here's to the next bit of your journey as part of the Queen's Hall Arts community. Thank you. I think I'm handing on to somebody else, but I'm not quite sure who. I do now know who I'm handing on to. I am handing on to the wonderful Sue and the wonderful Addison.
Thank you.
They represent two of those categories that we've just whooped and cheered, and they're going to tell us a little bit of a story about their journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm Susan Betts. I'm Director of the Youth Theatre here, and I just wanted to kind of put into context what we do here with the Youth Theatre. Addison works with me on my sessions. We don't normally have a microphone, Addison, do we?
We don't, no.
Actually, so this is quite a privilege. I came into the Youth Theatre in 2010 after Holly Clay, who was then the outreach officer, had developed the first group. And it was literally one 90-minute session once a week for 8 to 11-year-olds. I feel very honoured to now be working with 4 groups of young people. So we have 55 young people at the present time in the Youth Theatre across 4 groups, ages ranging from 8 through to 18. The primary ethos, if you like, of our youth theatre here at the Queen's Hall is one of building a company. It's ensemble work. It's about that liminal space between home and school where young people can come and investigate their own creativity. It's not about preparing them for the best performer. It's about young people coming together and working collectively for something that is more important in a sense than their individual selves. And we've had fantastic success using this method. We try very much to be inclusive, so we don't ever send anybody away. We have people with neurodiverse students with us. We have people with physical disabilities. We support mental health, not in and of itself, obviously, but through the actual practice of having an ensemble company. Over the years, we've developed a writing practice, a writing for performance collaboration with Hexham Book Festival, which has been absolutely extraordinary. We would work with students from different schools through projects with Hexham Book Festival. They would come in, work with the youth theatre students and put on shows. And actually that's how Addison came to be involved, because at 13 he was one of those students. We've collaborated with professional theatre companies, professional artists. We've devised work. We have, in 2018, we, for the first time, took part in the National Theatre Connections Festival. And we did really, really well. And we took it to the Northern Stage. Unfortunately, we didn't get to take it to London. But it was a fantastic opportunity for all the young people to see where they could aspire to go on to. As part of building an ensemble, it's been very important for me and for the Queen's Hall to have a mentoring scheme. One where the support, the young people that come in to support me are mentored. They then develop their own abilities to facilitate or to think about careers in the creative industries. And actually we have quite a phenomenal alumni that has come out of Queen's Hall, which I'm hoping that we can do a bit of work on, so that the young people coming in now can see where these older members and the people that have come in to support can actually go on to. We've collaborated internationally, again with the collaboration with Hexham Book Festival, with theatre companies, youth theatre companies in Latvia. Unfortunately, COVID put paid to that. But we try and offer opportunities for the young people who come to the youth theatre to create work with diverse range of artists, both here and abroad. Particularly now that they actually can't, it's much, much harder for young people to travel abroad on educational projects. We also developed over the years a youth theatre specifically for people with autism. It started off as an 8 to 10-year-old group, and which lasted for about 4 years, and then we had to have a break from that and then brought those young people back actually as young adults, and that ran for several years as well. Unfortunately, we've had to put a pause on that, but we are hoping that something for that group of young people will be able to be facilitated in the future. I would like to hand over to Addison now, because I think it's really important for everybody here to hear what he has to say about what it's meant to him to be part of this youth theatre, Queen's Hall Youth Theatre provision. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Sue. It was very, very well put together. I'm not sure how I'm going to follow that up, to be honest. But yes, so I've been involved in the Queen's Hall Youth Theatre since I was 12, actually. It's okay, totally fine, Sue. So I was 12 years old when I first came into the Queen's Hall Youth Theatre. It was through a Hexham Book Festival collaboration that the Queen's Hall were putting on with Sue came into my school, which is now Hopsall Academy, it was Hopsall Middle School at the time, into an English lesson where we were learning about the miners' strikes of the 1980s. And Sue came in and we were all very excited about the project, where she was wanting to develop some scenes based on historically accurate events of the miners' strike and then adapt it into a stage play that would be performed here at the Queen's Hall. So then, I think the project maybe lasted about 3 to 4 weeks. The scenes were developed, we devised them, and they were then to be brought back to the Queen's Hall for their youth theatre to then develop it into a fully fledged piece. Then about a week later, there were some letters sent out to our school inviting us to join the youth theatre as members to help put these scenes into some form of structure, which myself and I think 3 others took the invitation up. So we came here for about 3 months working on this piece and then performed it on the main stage. And I think myself and one other person continued on with the youth theatre after a while, because one unfortunately had to move over to Carlisle Way for his education, and then another one ended up getting more into the computer side of things, but still holds the youth theatre in very much high regard now. So from the age of 12 to 18, I was still very much involved with the youth theatre. I found an adoration for the performing arts sector as well. I didn't pursue it in school, unfortunately. One, because unfortunately there wasn't enough interest in our school over at Hayden Bridge to put the subject on. And 2, I also didn't want to necessarily make it seem like it was work, because this was something that I very much did enjoy doing in my spare time. It got me away from my original introverted self from my late childhood and teenagehood, and it was something that I could go out my house, enjoy, be involved in a very, very inclusive community that we ended up building up in the youth theatre. And then I ended up putting myself forward for some more auditions. The youth theatre really boosted my confidence for that. And then I ended up acting in not just stage plays, but then TV shows, other theatre productions outside of the Queen's Hall, and also some film productions as well, which I'm still doing to this day. Then when it came to my university applications, the youth theatre, my time with the youth theatre was very, very important for that, because I was wanting to go ahead and study film practices over at Newcastle University. So even though theatre and film are 2 slightly different prerogatives, they were very much still embedded in the creative industries, and Newcastle in particular looked very highly upon that when I wrote my personal statement to them, and that was how I ended up getting the offer through for them to study for the film practices degree. My first year in university ended up being encapsulated by the pandemic, so we ended up being online, doing online learning. But then I was also still involved in the youth theatre. We were doing online sessions during COVID as well. And then after the pandemic had sort of settled down to a degree, there was then talks of bringing it back in person, and then I got a very lovely email from Sue inviting me to join the team of the youth theatre and helping facilitate the sessions, which I was still very much to this day really appreciate the offer and invite, and I've definitely not regretted it since. So I've now been part of their team for the last year and a half. And then just at the back end of last year, through continuing to work with the youth theatre and also doing my work experience here at the Queen's Hall in the box office with the tech team, with the caretaking team, and working across the departments, I then got an invitation. I got collared on the staircase actually by Katie, just by the gallery downstairs, asking if I was interested in coming onto the board for the Queen's Hall. And originally I was a bit perplexed, thinking, oh, this is something that I've never entertained the idea of. But then the more I sat on and thought about the idea, I loved the idea of, because I recognised how much the Queen's Hall had given to me, I liked the idea of then reinvesting back into the staff and back into what made me someone that I am today. So I put myself forward for the board, and I've been serving on there since December. And I'm more than happy to continue my work there, doing my best, of course, to serve the staff, do their best interest, and work with the freelancers that we get through our doors on a day-to-day basis. It's been fantastic to see the evolution of the Queen's Hall. I mean, even in this room today, I was even seeing a few people as they came in. While I was expecting a lot of people, I wasn't expecting this many people. Like a full room full as well. It's been absolutely fantastic to see. So yes, thank you so much as well for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
small comment. I think Addison and I, and Tom, who is also one of the new facilitators, we've had discussions with Kate as well. Things have, this last academic year has been our first year back face to face with the new theatre. And we have noticed a huge difference in the children and young people's behaviour and aspirations and mental health. And we feel that it's now more than ever important to allow space for young people to play and be part of something creative. And we are going to be doing a show across the Youth Theatre in March as part of the 40-year celebration. We're just going to call it celebration. We're not giving them a big thing to think about. We want them to actually have fun and enjoy the process of actually putting something on. But it has been quite a significant change. So yes, it's really, really important. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you especially to Addison. I can't think of a better way to celebrate Queen's Hall's 40 years, but to hear Addison's story, real lived experience, the difference that it makes. Remember that every time you buy a ticket, you support us, and by supporting us, you support what we're doing with Youth Theatre and all of the other activity that we do with young people and older people and hopefully everyone in our community. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you'll enjoy eating the cake as much as we've enjoyed looking at the cake today. It's been the best thing about today is our fantastic cake. There's plenty of food, so help yourself and enjoy the performance. And on a final word, the performance is a co-production. Christina is at the back, who's the writer. Christina and I met a very long time ago on a previous production in a conversation in the corridor in another venue. And that's how these things happen, so it's great to have that journey here. So if you're going to join us in the production, enjoy the food and enjoy the cake, and thank you very much for coming, and cheers.